Lowe's 1890, customer Curtis. We have a mid 60s or so, early 70s house that we are looking at the original cabinets. So there are several things about the house that are not going to be the standards that we have today. I'm going to go over a few of those things so that you have an idea of where I'm coming from with my measurements. The first thing I want to show you is the floor. If you look underneath here, that is a very low toe kick. That only measures about 35 inches, 34 and 3/4 to the top of the countertop. And the reason that is you actually have almost an inch. See that there where my foot is? Almost an inch difference in the floor thickness. Inch and a quarter. Now it looks like that this home originally had linoleum and that someone came in and just literally laid Durarock right over the top of linoleum and just kept building thickness on everything. So because of that, you can tell here that they actually do not have any cord around, that the tile is cut around the cabinet boxes. Now, one of the things that is about this kitchen she really loves are these exposed beams. So you take a look, they're all across the room here, really pretty. But when you look at the way the beam is done, it's actually in the front of the soffit. This soffit is sheetrock and 2x4s, and you can see here the construction of it. See right there, soffit is sheetrock and 2x4s. I'm saying they probably had to take this little bit of something down last time just to get the fridge to fit underneath it because the fridges have gotten so tall. But these beams are cut, from what I can tell, right at the face of this soffit box and tied to them, okay? So that soffit is actually part of the house's structure. It's not coming down. It's part of the way it's done. And if you look underneath here, you can see more evidence of that. You can actually see the box behind. And if you look inside of the cabinet, there's a ceiling in there. So that box is actually part of the structure of the home. Now, underneath here, you can see there's a light. That's actually part of the soffit. And from corner to corner, the valance had to be pieced. If you take a look right here, they actually had to piece that together because it was just so long across the front of that. So work with the customer because there are some constraints here that we're going to have to be careful of. The first thing is, if we were to build up the floor to an inch thick, that's going to raise these cabinets another inch. This countertop's only 3/4 of an inch thick because of this being a drop over the face. It's only 3/4 of an inch. So this spacing that's here now is only about 16 inches, and we normally would have 18 inches there. So if we start building all these pieces up, that's going to end up being like 14.5 inches, much less than what modern appliances are designed for at 18 inches. So one of the aspects of this, that the actual soffit is 12.5 inches tall. It's not standard as far as height, but these cabinet boxes are actually 30. They're the standard height that we have now. So again, the tear out of this and the changing of the floors and stuff is going to make this a much more functional kitchen as far as these heights that are inside of the layout. Notice that this is actually sheetrock here on the wall behind with tile on it, but the rest of the room is a tongue and groove panel that's actually applied to the walls. That's not flooring, that's tongue and groove paneling from back then. And the cut-in to that, if you look right here, the actual cut-in, this is flush with that thickness, so they've built this out to, to that same 3/4. Measurements I'm giving you are the best I can tell, plus 1/4 inch on tile where there is tile, plus 3/4 of an inch like here, where there actually is additional wall space that's been built to the thickness of. Just to get the dishwasher in this one, see here, they had to actually trim the bottom of the tile just to get the dishwasher underneath from that side of it. Now go back over here on this side. You actually have 48 inches of frame. When you're looking at your drawing, I've got 48 from here to that corner. That's actually the frame dimension of this. I'm giving you a dimension from that corner to the side of the dishwasher, right here, the side, and then 24 inches, 12 there, and I think this was 24 as well across here. So when you're looking at the frame layout that I'm giving you the front of the cabinets. And that's just to make sure that we are pretty much the same as what you had before, especially because I don't know where the electrical and plumbing behind this dishwasher is. It probably is going to need to be very close to where it was before instead of close to the sink. We won't know until tear out about how far away that dishwasher can be put. And one thing I noticed here, that's actually a 220 volt plug that's down low. So really the length of the cabinets on this one would have to come all the way within an inch of the door trim and cover that plug, and the plug would actually have to be blanked off and removed from the fuse panel, or it's got to stay at 24 before it, just like you see. And because this is a walk area, probably stepping back a little bit would be better. It's about even with the end of the window. So those are all things, if you start looking at space on the wall, you probably wouldn't want to make that any longer, because of that. Again, back over on this side, if you're looking at the original layout, the cabinets actually have a duct in the ceiling above where the cooktop is. If this is going to become an over-the-range microwave, that duct will probably end up going bye-bye. When I'm looking at the duct, it's loose, so it's probably just cut into the attic. It probably does not go through the house into the roof line. So again, that's something I can't tell today, but that's something that you probably ought to have the guy tearing out or whoever check to see if whether or not that actually goes through the roof, if it needs to be saved as far as the penetration of the roof or not. Go here and take a look at these soffits. They're unusual. The soffits are only 11.5 inches deep. This is a 24-inch deep oven cabinet. If you look, the soffits are a 1/2 inch behind the sizes of the cabinets, and that's the same on the ends as well as on the face. So if you look here, 11.5, this is a 12-inch deep cabinet. So the measurements I'm giving you are for soffits that are subjuncted. They're behind the face frame of the cabinet. That's different. Normally soffits are 14 inches deep or something, and they actually stick out past the cabinet. Since they're staying, we're going to have some type of a trim transition, just like what they have here. And this is just outside corner molding is all this is. But a standard overlay cabinet is a must for this. We're not going to be able to do this with a full overlay. There's not going to be any way to do that and not have problems with the height, being because we'd have to drop them to add some type of molding up there. So standard overlay cabinet is what we're going to need. Now that's a cooktop that's 30 inches. That's what she's planning on going back. Or she would like to also see a design with a freestanding stove there to see the price difference. The reason I say is because this cabinet could actually be a pantry instead of an oven cabinet. And she doesn't have a lot of food storage space. Everything you're looking at here is, they're storing it above and below the cooking area. So that would work out well as a pantry, and then this would work out better as a freestanding stove, especially if we're not going to have a flooring issue as far as the footprint. And then the last thing to talk about is this little piece right here is only like 30 inches long. 29.5 is actually how big the soffit is, I think I put on there. And the depth, about 11.5, again, on the depth of it. So this has a couple of inches from the end of the soffit to here is about 1.75 inches. Okay, so if we're looking at the cabinet coming out to the length, it can hang out another half, and you can see the shadow on the wall there where it hung out before. It can hang out another 1/2 inch like that, and it'll look just like the rest of the cabinets. Again, unusual that the soffits are smaller than the footprint of the cabinet below them. It's something different. Just make sure when you're checking your measurements that you're taking that in consideration. New fridge, it's 29 inches wide, 68.5 inches tall, and about 31 inches deep. So make sure that we correctly dimension the refrigerator for the space. It's a smaller one, but it fits in the space that we're looking at. The single oven, if she decides to reuse it, is going to be a 24 by 31. That's the face size of the oven. Cooktop would be a 30, range microwave would be a 30, dishwasher would be a 24, everything else is standard. If you have any questions about the cabinets, feel free to give me a call. Again, low windows, see that window is only 3 inches above that counter space. So again, if we were to bump these cabinets up with an inch of flooring below, or an inch of blocking below them to get even with the floor, that would be only like 1.5 inches left before your window sill. And so you'd have trouble with your countertop fitting under that molding. Have any questions about this? Feel free to give me a call at 423-650-1051. Have a good day.